Okay, next question. Janet Jackson, big fan, loving your work. The earlier stuff, not the recent stuff. It's been a bit dodgy, so maybe work on it. I don't know. How do you get the smooth, tidy look to your dreads? Fluke, luck, fluke. Don't know. I guess maybe I'm covering old ground or ground that we've already covered. But for me, pure and simple, I think I have taken quite a bit of time to get that neat look, and the neat look involves lots of hair actually compacted, nice and tight and even. And actually, if I'm honest, the key is, and this may be too late for some of you, for me, the key was actually we put the hair in to dreads in the first place, when we backcombed in the first place, we made sure that it was evenly done right from the start. And actually, I kind of evened stuff out and took lumps and bumps out right at the start in the first couple of weeks. I know kind of in my earlier videos it didn't look like it, but actually I was doing a heck of a lot of maintenance on it in the first month or so to get them smooth. And actually, once I've started that, you kind of tend to go in that. It's a lot easier to do it when the dreads aren't mature. Once they're mature, it's just a pig to get sorted and get them smooth. For me, I think now there's a whole lot of hair in there, and it's thick, and I've allowed them to shrink up in the first year, and the frustrations of having short dreads and silly looking short dreads for the first year has really paid off now, because there's a whole load of hair in there, all dead compact. And I do this all the time. I know palm rolling for me actually that's a key for me. I think it smooths it out, keeps them nice and tight and compact. Keep them clean. Just look after them. I think if you want smooth, tidy dreads, you've got to look after them. I think if you don't want smooth, tidy dreads, you just want to let them do their thing, then that's cool. But don't expect to have smooth, tidy, uniform dreads. I don't know if you've found anything different, but
pretty much the same thing. I think, and Ned the Dread also said this a while back, and it really makes sense. And even if I hadn't heard him say it, I would have said the same thing, man. I think how your dreads look in the long run have a lot to do with the maintenance that you put in the very beginning. Like, if I wouldn't have done a lot of maintenance, then they wouldn't look like they do now. A lot of maintenance, wasn't sitting there for hours a day. A lot of people think that's what people who do the natural route. I love the natural route, but a lot of times they go to that. Everyone knows what website I'm talking about without talking about it. They go to that website and they just think that for some reason we sit here all day and just crochet our dreads, or we just get a felting hook and just jam them. And that honestly, that's just not the case. We don't do that. Even whenever I was doing more maintenance, I didn't do that. And I've noticed also, the longer you have them, the less maintenance you have to do. Like, I don't really do anything now except for wash them twice a week. And every once in a while, if I get like the frizz that's annoying on top that I just don't want to look at, I don't really mind the stuff on the side. I'll use that really small loose hair tool, and I only pull the loose hair in once it's long enough to dread ball. I'll dread ball it. Make sure it's in the right section. Don't pull it in from some other dread. And then I pull it in with that little small loose hair tool. I don't use the big one because I don't want big old holes in my dreads. But I do that, and that's about all I do. And if I have most of my dreads dread as they grow out, that's just going to happen. But I have a couple that want to have a couple inches of straight hair, and so I just wait a day after I wash them, and I clockwise rub those real softly, real gently, and that's all I do, honestly. And if after 6 months, if I need to, if I really need to, I'll get a crochet hook and I'll go in. I try not to go into the parts that are really, really tight, but I'll go in and pull in some loose hair, and I'm good. But
I think that important actually is what you're saying there, and it's about washing them as well. I think washing your dreads actually really, really helps. If you wash them in the right shampoo and keep them clean and keep them washed, I find that they look so much better. Like, I only wash mine maybe once a week, kind of because I just don't have the 3 hours it takes or so to dry them. So, but I think the 2 days after, like maybe 2 days after I've washed them, like so midweek, like today and tomorrow, they look the best, because I think they look good. They've been cleaned. The dirt's out of there. The blonde works really well. They're smooth out. I don't know. There's something about keeping them clean and keeping them tidy, and just working on the maintenance just makes a massive difference. So, but I'm with you now. I think in my third year, I hardly do anything. I hardly do any kind of maintenance. It's just like the loose hair that may get pulled out at the tips, as I've already said, and maybe the new growth at the top. I'll do a little bit of stuff, but I don't sit down and spend hours at night kind of neatening up my dreads because I don't have to. Because as you say, the work was done earlier on in the first year. So, but hey, we've answered that. I think we've answered that. Right, Butterfinger Butterfinger 444. Crucial. The extra 4. Do you ever get accused of using drugs because of your dreads? Do you want to answer that first? I think I probably need to think about this.
Yeah, I'll answer it. Yes, that's my answer. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, actually, yes. You get all kinds of accusations just because. And a lot of times people aren't being rude. Sometimes they are, but they just don't know. The only people they've met were druggies with dreads on the street somewhere. And so, I've asked people just honestly ask me. They even like don't want to ask me in front of people. They're like, "Hey man, can I ask you a question?" I'm like, "Yeah, what's up?" And they're like, "What's it like to not ever wash your hair? Like, does it mean you do drugs?" I'm like, "Well, man, first off, I appreciate you not calling me out and blowing up my spot in front of everybody. But no, man, I actually wash my hair like twice a week, once a week. I've even gone a little bit longer than that before. Sometimes even too long without washing. But no, man, I wash them often. I mean, people when I explain this, people understand really. It's like, how is your hair gonna dread up and will stay pretty dreaded up to the root and just look nicer if it has tons and tons of oil in it from your scalp? It's like if I cover some yarn in like baby oil or like olive oil and try and tighten a knot, it's easy to take out. You know what I mean? So it's just like I usually explain that. And when it comes to the drugs, I always get, depending on where I am in the town or depending on where I am wherever. But I get people that come up to me and ask me, "Hey man, you got that good stuff? You got that good stuff?" And I'm like, "No man, I don't." Either that they think I have it or they offer it to me. Like, "Hey man, you want to get some whatever?" I'm like, "No man." No, I'm not into that. And they're like, "All right, man, I got you. I respect that. Love the dreads, bro. Love the dreads." You know what I mean? That's cool. That's my answer.
Yeah, I get the same. I think not too much actually. I think I don't know whether just people assume it and then they think I'm just not going to ask him because he's a big guy, so I'm just not going to get into that conversation. I don't know, but I've had it a few times, but not much. I think at work, the whole washing thing, I've had exactly the same question of like, so what's it like not to wash your hair, and like, does it smell not washing your hair? I actually had someone say to me, so, but I thought it was the dirt that kept your dreads together. I'm like, oh no,
some honey or bubble gum or whatever.
Oh dear, yeah, that's what I do. I roll in mud and I just kind of stick them together like that. That's just crazy stuff. I think the easiest answer is no, I don't, and yes, I do. If in that order. No, I don't do drugs. Yes, I do wash my hair. Simple as that. Do you want a drink? Just move on from that. So yeah.